Branzino, Anatra, marcia!
We are in Modena at Osteria Francescana, and I'm so honored to be here with Massimo Bottura. Thank you so much for having me
You're
here.
welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to Modena.
Today we're going to talk about the process at Osteria Francescana, because having been open now for so many years, the concept of continuing to move forward is huge for this restaurant. Talk to me a little bit about the process of when you come up with a new recipe. Where do you begin in that process?
I always say that the most important ingredient for a chef, for a contemporary chef, is his mind. It's like driving a Ferrari. You have the big screen because you look in front, you look at the future. Contemporary chef is always in his hand, in his mind, in his body, is gonna be always future. But you never forget with the rear mirror the past.
Well, and especially here, because you are so focused on products of the region, how do you balance that future and past as you're coming up with new concepts?
It's a very important point, because to me it's like seeing I call that tradition in evolution, but it's a way to look at the past not in a nostalgic way, but in a critic way, to get just the best from the past and bring into the future. There are points that are so important in Italy for everyone, so nostalgic, like the soccer team, like the Pope, or the grandmother recipe. This is a very important lesson. Never screw up with grandmother recipe. Otherwise, the people, they're gonna burn you, crucified in the main piazza.
Which you have experienced on occasion.
Which I have experienced. Thousands of years of culture back there. And we need to preserve that, but we need also to renew that, new tradition and evolution, and project ourselves into the future. So, if you read a book, or you see a piece of art, or you listen a beautiful song that inspires you, the potato can be better than a truffle.
Ha! Here we go!
How do you get from tortellini is beautiful to me to the actual dish that a person eats?
Because most of the time, if you eat a tortellino, like yesterday night, there was a guy from Castelfranco Emilia, then he looked at me and he said, "So, I'm very curious, but are you making the filling like sauté or long time cooking, or you put this or there?" And I was like, "But do you like them?" "I love them." So don't worry about that. Just enjoy the food, because the food is not about concepts. It's about being good and healthy. Then everything we have in the back is like, it comes after, because the first dialogue, we are cooked, and the first dialogue we have is with your palate. Then with your mind, but first with your palate.
And is that on some level difficult for you? You look at a plate and you say, I want it to look a certain way, feel a certain way, but first it has to taste incredible. It has to react on your palate. It has to bring you a memory of some kind. Is it hard to balance those pieces?
It's not hard, because it's all part of our culture. So culture is so important. That's why I always say to the Italian chef, don't look at around what is the new trend or the next trend. Just feel where you come from. Feel your youthness, how your mother or your grandmother grow you up. And the look comes later.
How do you evolve, especially the classic dishes and the dishes that people have come to expect from you?
I know. It is very important. It's a reflection of not to lose yourself in everyday life. So, for example, we have tagliatelle al ragù. It's like bolognese sauce.
Right.
And I travel all over the world. It's like the most classic of the classics, like lasagna.
Right.
Lasagna. It's like lasagna 2005, lo mejor de la gastronomía. Was just an air cooler like a Ferrari T4 of Gilles Villeneuve. It's like the most poetry, the most incredible pilot, driver, you had in F1 racing. Lasagna 2014 went totally abstract. So it's like a lasagna that is just the crunchy part of the lasagna that your grandmother is gonna put on the table. And as a kid, the first thing you do is like steal the crunchy part of the top of lasagna because it's the best part.
Of course.
Everyone knows that it is the best part. Who cares eat lasagna like that? Who cares eat a big bowl of tortellini like that? I'd rather eat one tortellino at a time, or I'd rather eat stealing that part of lasagna, doing scarpetta, and eat that part. That part is the emotional part. And so I'm serving it as an emotional part.
Due marciano, due maccheroni.
As the acclaim comes, as the audience of the restaurant comes, how do you find the evolution of the restaurant continuing when you have quite a different audience coming to the restaurant and tasting the foods? How do you find creating food memories for people that potentially have such different experiences?
I know. This is a very, very good question. The audience are totally different. For an Italian chef, have the 3-star Michelin is the dream of a dream. As Bocuse was saying 30 years ago, the Italian chef, they have to understand how incredible the ingredients they have and how good they are, and give value to the artisan, the cheesemaker, the farmers. We learned that lesson. And that's one of the most important lessons. And people, they follow the Michelin guide are totally different from the people they follow the 50 best restaurant list. They come for an experience, they order a la carte, they get the wine list, they order a couple of bottles, and they enjoy that way. The people from the 50 best, they don't even open the menu. They say, we want to live that experience. You choose whatever you want. It's very, very challenging for the kitchen to stay in tradition, in evolution. A la carte and contemporary menu. But it's a spiritual, mental exercise that keeps us alive and keeps the team so strong and close. Intellectual stimulation, it's very important for young guys. They devote their lives to the kitchen. The way we are designing the whole team is in the same way. We have people from Japan, people from right now Canada, Peru, Brazil, United States. We put together all this knowledge, all this experience.
On some level, by having stagiaires and staff from all over the world and guests from all over the world, has that shifted the menu? Does it help you continue to evolve in what's on the plate as well as just
the evolution? The evolution is in my mind. As I say, kilometer zero is here. All the rest is it's not, for me, it's not important. I always follow my palate. I always follow my experience. Actually, I want to show you something that I have here. This is a Ai Weiwei piece, okay? This is Ai Weiwei piece is powder. Is a powder of a vase that is 2,000 years old. Is a vase that the artist broke. He dropped the vase, and you know, with all the powder. The powder is here, and the powder is not your grandmother, not your mother, but is a powder of your past. And what I say is always, what is your cuisine right now? My cuisine is open this jar, get a little bit of powder, pass through a contemporary mind. That's my cuisine. That's the point.
Keep the old with the new and smash a few things along the way.
Never forget where you come from, but always look at that in a critical way, not in a nostalgic way. Get the critical points.
Marciano 4 alici!
Well, thank you so much for talking to us about the process and the inspiration behind Osteria Francescana. So appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cotechino!